Hi everyone, good morning. So today is Feb 28, a day after AREIT declared cash dividends with an ex-date of March 7, 2023. The dividends amount to 52 centavos or 0.52 pesos per common share. Record date is March 10 and the payment date is March 24. So as of Feb 27, AREIT closed at the price of 35 pesos and 75 centavos, which was down by 0.14%. So again, Feb 27, 35.75 was the closing price. Here we see the dividend history of AREIT since its IPO. So focus on this part of the slide and we see that its cash dividends have steadily increased, and the ex-date price are the closing prices on the actual ex-dates, and the yields are simply it's a simple mathematical formula of cash over the ex-date price. So 5.82% would be assuming that for the rest of the year, AREIT would do a payout of 52 centavos per common share at the price of 35 pesos and 75 centavos. So again, 2020, these are the ex-date, or rather the dividend declarations, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And so far, they have been showing an increase. So these are assuming we buy them at the end of the month and at the closing price for that month. So here you'll see that for each of the months, I have put that information in this table, and just for the sake of explain this simply, I put in just one share per month, and the prices are the closing prices for that particular month. So all in all, this would set you back with an investment of this amount. So for 2020, the year 2020, these are the investments you've put into 2021, 2022, and 2023. And later on, ito-total natin to and do some comparisons on the yield. So again, dividends. This is the dividend based on the dividend history 2020. And since we bought at the end of the month, so we were not yet entitled to any dividends for the month of August after AREIT declared cash dividends. But since we bought at the end of August, then we would be entitled already for the December disclosure. And these are the yields. The return is essentially the amount, is essentially the dividend rate, or the dividend amount that was declared versus the amount that you have put into or purchased as of that particular date. So it goes on. 2021, this would be your rates, 2022 and 2023. The 146 amount here is an estimate. If in case AREIT continues to provide the same amount based on the previous 3 quarters. So here, 2020, the total dividend yield would be 130%. So again, it's based on the actual price that you bought the share. 2021 is 552, slightly decreased in 2022 and went back up a little bit in 2023. Well, 2023 is not yet done, so assuming it gives out the same amount, then it would be close to this. So again, Feb 27, as of end of Feb 27, AREIT closed at 35 pesos and 75 centavos. Going back, we would have put into this amount, and if we decided to sell our shares, then we would have garnered a loss of 2 and 33%. So let's say we use some indicators to help us with our buying decisions. And in this case, we specifically use this indicator to tell us that we should hold off from buying shares from the months of September 2021 to March 2022. Now, I want to point out that this indicator that I'm using right now isn't the best. There are many indicators out there. You can use whatever fancies you. So again, using that indicator to help us with the decision, then instead of having this previous investment put into the AREIT shares, then we would have this situation. So we put off some buying and instead added them all up, and come April 2022 we buy shares when that particular indicator tells us that it's now in the neutral zone, and we can most likely go back and buy SHEM shares. Now that would result to a lower, at least in this particular example, it resulted to a lower investment. This was the previous situation, and when we use an indicator, this is now how it looks like. So you'd notice that some shares since we had lesser shares, we had fewer returns in terms of the cash amounts. But if you look at the dividend yield, you would see some slight increases. Okay, so before and then after. So going back again, this would have been if we did a strategy of buying at the close of every month. This would have been how our dividend returns yields would have been. And if we used some indicator, and in this particular case the RSI, again there are many indicators that you can use, but in this particular example it showed us that the returns were much higher, at least the yields. And if you thought of selling your shares at the end of February 27, then you would have had your capital appreciated by a rate of 1.88%. So there, in either of the examples, were the yields okay or the yields good? I don't know. It depends on your objective, on your goals. And before I close, let me state that this is not in any way a financial advice. This is not meant to ask anyone, tell anyone, advise anyone to buy or sell any share for that matter. This is just pure research going back to what ifs. And let me reiterate that you should do your own research, come up with your own strategy, come up with your own style. And till then, happy investing. Paalam!